Usually forget to do that. Hi everyone, thanks for tuning in. I wanted to host a little information session on working with food hubs as a K-12 or ECE site, early education site. We've been starting this pilot with 3 food hubs in Oregon, one in the Gorge, serving the Gorge and Portland area, one in Central Oregon, and one in Lane County to try to resource some of our K-12 schools and ECE sites and helping spend down the farm to school funds and just navigating local food. The pilot is partially supported with kitchen sink strategies and the Oregon Farm to Institution Collaborative. Um, and I have Melina here if she wants to introduce herself real quick. I'm sure most of you know her, but for the sake of the recording.
Hi, everyone. This is Melina Barker. I'm the director of the Oregon Farm to School Network. I'm keeping my video off because my internet is not working super great today. But I'm super excited to be here, and the Oregon Farm to School Network is on the organizing team for the Oregon Farm to Institution Collaborative that Abigail mentioned that contracted with Kitchen Sink for this pilot project. So really excited to be here today, and I'll talk a little more at the end.
Thanks for being here. And yeah, I want this to be like somewhat informative slash interactive. So if there are questions in real time, feel free to unmute yourself. And I'm sure other people who will watch the recording have similar questions. So feel free to jump in. And yeah, I guess I didn't introduce myself. I'm Abigail Blinn. I'm the regional sales lead for this pilot for Oregon with Kitchen Sink. Next slide. So first, I just want to like share what a food hub is. We are talking about businesses or nonprofits that aggregate and distribute local food. So if you want to compare it to a distributor that focuses just on hyper-local food in their regions, focusing on local and regional agriculture producers to work direct to consumer markets, but also wholesale, retail, and institutional buyers like schools. And the 3 listed here on my slides, the Gorge Farmer Collective is the food hub that serves the Gorge, and that's Hood River, Wasco, and Sherman counties, as well as the Portland metro area. Lane County Bounty, which services Lane County now, and then Ag Connects, which services Jefferson, Dechutes, and Crook counties. And if you're on this call or watching the recording and your school isn't in one of these counties, we still have other regional support groups that can meet your needs. And I'll talk a little bit about that too. But right now we're kind of just like focusing on these service areas that have these food hubs in their areas. And again, I should have went over that when I was on this slide, but these are the food hubs that we're supporting, and these regions are also represent the regional hubs. So there's other food hubs across Oregon, and there's also other regional hub support for schools and ECE sites across the state. But this is really a call focused on these hubs and how they're operating with institutions right now. So really like the root of supporting a food hub is supporting our local producers, as well as getting high quality products for your institution. Each of these food hubs are one point of contact for the producers that they work with. So it helps producers be able to navigate a market that they might not be able to access on their own. They're able to work with one point of contact to meet like yeah direct consumer and institutional sales, so they have multiple outlets for their products. And we're talking about products that have standards which are organic or at least like transitioning towards organic, pasture raised meats and eggs, value added products that are made with hyperlocal products, and then also items that are reducing single-use plastics, so you're not going to see like things individually wrapped in things, but still clean and in cases. that reduce single-use plastics. And this is an example of our list that goes out each week. Each of these three hubs have their own product lines. And this is an example of one from Lane County Bounty. We list the category of the product name, as well as the producer that it comes with or comes from, as well as like the unit and price proportion. And I'll go over sort of that like schedule around working with the food hub, but this is just like an example of how how you know where your food is coming from. And on the other side, we try to make it easier for institutions like K-12 schools and ECE sites. We're also working with hospitals and universities and corporate dining sites across the state. But really, like, as it's one point of contact for producers, it's one point of contact for institutions and schools. So you're able to access a variety of different products from produce to proteins to eggs to dairy and value-added items, while also like having one person to communicate with and one person to provide prices, and you're not trying to add multiple vendors into your systems. You can add one of these hubs to your systems. And then we have one delivery available each week in these regions. And you can pay one invoice to pay for multiple or variety of products. And that's like really the value add for working with a food hub is being able to access multiple different products through one site. And then we also have these know your farmer pages and anything that can like go on your service line to help promote the products that you're purchasing. All of these food hubs that we're working with operate online markets through local food marketplace, LFM. They aren't really what we use to help communicate what's available and make sales, but it is available to you all to be able to look at photos of products and learn about the farms that you're supporting. And this is an example of Lane County Bounty's like spring items that we had. Uh, I send the static list like I showed earlier of the products available, but this is here to use as a reference for pictures and stuff like that. And another service that the food hubs can really help schools do is planning around local food. Oftentimes, we're thinking about procurement with local items as micro purchases that are one-off or like a week-to-week type thing. But I've been working with districts for the past few months to set up purchases for next school year and or for summer meals. We get one vendor set up in your systems, and we work through purchasing documents and different abilities to plan around local food. We'll go into it a little bit more, but really like this opportunity to look 6 months to a year to 2 years in advance. And because these food hubs have been working with institutions and direct-to-consumer markets for the past like several years, they're able to quote prices and have that information available to you, as opposed to like maybe working with an individual producer that might not know their prices for next year or still have barriers to like plan ahead of things. And it's also an added benefit that we're aggregating from multiple producers. So if one doesn't have something, there's like a protection there of being able to source from multiple different producers. So some of these planning resources are still in development, but working with basically a product list that we have. There's the availability list that has like the weekly information, and then these annual guides that help us plan for the entire school year or even just like 6 months in advance. We get information like the products that you're wanting, and we go over different specs of the product, like the size and varieties that you're wanting, and like really getting into the details. We try to understand like how much you need for your to serve your students, and then can set up recurring orders for each month, or even like weekly orders. I am a dietitian and have an understanding of school menus and developing those, and as well as worked with the farm to school team for the past 6 years. So understand what's needed for crediting the child nutrition program items through the farm to school program, and able to really plan with our farms to get things in advance set up. And then I'm available to you Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, for any questions that come up, and have, yeah, available to just like what's like talk about the delivery and any changes in orders and things like that. So set things in plan and motion ahead of time, and then have time to talk through those things like as things come up. We also look at different availability and pricing ahead of time, as I mentioned. And yeah, as I said, we're really here to like help change local food in your school system. So designing menus around local products and seasonality. We have those charts, and a lot of places across the state and the Oregon Farm to School Network develops these Harvest of the Month calendars. So really helping you choose a couple items that you can feature each month, and then actually knowing like what the source might be and the price, and having that information ahead of time so you can use that to plan. And then we can also talk through like basic product swaps, like if you're already servicing something each year, like a fruit or vegetable or beef patties or tuna or something like that, and you want to have that locally, we can look into like product swapping those for your program. But really just like going through those questions of like the local prepared item being able to be prepared in your site, if it's like within budget, and making sure the students will want to eat it. But really taking into consideration all the things that you would do in a normal planning process for your menus, but then taking it a step further and planning with our local producers on the other end. And there's also this reality of funding and making sure we're finding the right pots of funding. So as you know, there's money available for through the farm to school program for local purchases, but we also help support schools utilizing local products through the fresh fruit and vegetable program. And I can help develop those calendars and give you price points for that program, as well as like the unprocessed fruit and vegetable pilot, and utilizing general funds to compensate for the cost of local food throughout the year. The competitive and the non-competitive reimbursement grant are there to help supplement the cost of local foods. Because we really know when we have higher quality food, we're talking about doing this for an increased participation in student meals, and there's more community support and less plate waste and all the things that people report again and again when they're utilizing local products. I also have this example of how the farm to school funds can be used. Like I said, it helps supplement the cost. So we're talking about local foods and maybe more expensive items, but knowing there's this value add to your program, and knowing there's this food hub with you, to help navigate this on both ends, and really helping this to supplement the cost of local food in various ways through funding and support, with these food hubs have. And yeah, I wanted to like pause to see if there are any questions, and and then Melina's gonna give us a little update about the legislative session and kind of the reality of funds that we're looking at for the next biennium with the Farm to School grant.
Oh, were there any questions? Let's see if I can do my video. Okay. Well, Abigail asked me to just hop on and give an update. which I don't have like a lot of new updates. We're still waiting for the May revenue forecast, which happens next week for our state legislature. And then we'll know a little bit more about how much money they have to budget with. And I think they'll start to get a lot closer to determining budgets. But all sources currently point to current service level for our state grant program. So we should feel confident. You should all feel confident that you'll have a similar amount to start with as you have in the past, and also um, the similar amount in the competitive reimbursement pot to apply for. And I see that there's questions coming in, but I want to just say, the Farm to School Network, we hear a lot about challenges to buy local food. And a lot of the challenges that we hear are finding the local food and figuring out how to get it from child nutrition folks. And so I definitely see these emerging food hubs as a potential solution to some of those challenges that we've heard about from nutrition services folks for quite some time. I think they hold a lot of potential for aligning a little bit more with like the order and delivery system that maybe folks are more used to using, having a single point of contact, having a certain, steady delivery schedule, as opposed to coordinating with 20 different local producers. So I'm really curious to see how this pilot goes, and to hear from you all if we're right in that it's meeting some of the needs or challenges that we've heard about over the years. And yeah, it's exciting that we're finally here. There's definitely examples in other states of food hubs being a really good fit for the institutional market. And we'll find out if that's the case here in Oregon.
Yeah, and I want to like leave room for people to answer Melina's question, but also answer Angie's question. So to join a hub, just reach out to me. I'll put my email in the chat, but Abigail at kitchensinkstrategies.com. And there's no cost to join. It's really just we have like purchasing minimums for certain delivery sites, and it's really just like about reaching out to us and yeah, trying to navigate the local food. But yeah, I just want to like reiterate Melina's question of like, yeah, do you guys see this as a potential to meet needs and help lower barriers to access local food?
Well, Abigail, us here in Eugene, we work more with the farms, but it would be good to have the access to the information about the farms because they're not good about getting us a flyer or something. So I'm really excited to be able to use this to help promote those farms that are already providing services for us.
Yeah, that's a good point too. Like some schools are like have their systems intact and they've been reaching out to producers for the past couple decades too. And there's always like services that your hub can provide, whether it's promotion or delivery or things like that that are supplemental to what you're already doing. So yeah, don't hesitate to reach out for like maybe you already have a few producer relationships established, but you want to supplement those with other products or things like that. So it's not like a this or nothing. It's really just about like having this as a resource for schools trying to navigate the local food world. So thanks for sharing that. Sweet. Well, any other questions or um comments? I know there's a few other food hub people on the call too. If yeah, one of your regions isn't supported by a food hub, we'll certainly connect you with other state resources. I know there's intentions to grow this food hub program as it if it makes sense to continue to grow in other regions of the state. Sweet. I'm gonna stop recording.